Yo, what's up, geeks and nerds? It's your boy Dr. Geekly here, and welcome to Geeking Out Loud, where we talk about all things comics, movies, games, anime, all that. And today we got a special guest with us today, and I'll let him introduce himself and his work.
Okay, I'm Dan Henk. I do a lot of stuff actually. My girlfriend says I do way too much, but I do comics. I do art for books. I do art for magazines. I own a tattoo shop. I have a podcast. But the thing that I'm really trying to pitch or promote right now is I have a Kickstarter. So I managed to get the rights back to my first two novels. They've been out since like 2014. And so I got the rights back. I did a heavy re-edit with everything I've learned in the meantime, like doing seminars with Alan Moore and Stephen King and stuff like that. Rewrote them and I put them back up. So I'm like, hey, if you go on my campaign, limited edition, hardcovers, signed and numbered, I'll even draw a personal illustration for each copy in there. So yeah, that's those are some of the rewards. I also have like original artwork. I have art prints. I have a whole bunch of stuff. You should definitely check out my campaign.
Oh yeah, and that's what we're trying to do here. So what can you tell us about your Kickstarter you're doing now, like the main novel you're doing, the latest one?
Well, my debut novel is called The Black Seas of Infinity, and originally it started out as like a comic book graphic novel. And I remember I read Watchmen for the first time, and it kind of blew my mind. I mean, I'm sure it blew a lot of people's mind. But, I was like, up until that point, I was like, I like to draw and I like to write, but I don't know which I wanted to go for. And then I read Watchmen, and I was like, wait, I can do both. So then, like, I started putting this thing together, and I started mailing it out. And I got a lot of help from, like, we lived in Florida at the time. My dad was going to the University of Florida, and there were all these like indie comic shops there and indie bookstores, and there are a lot of indie artists there, and they just give me advice. So I remember, like, I sent out stuff to like Malibu and Eclipse. A lot of people don't even know who these people are now, but like Malibu put out The Crow, so the first iteration of The Crow was Malibu, but to Malibu, to Eclipse, to Kitchen Sink, to Paradise Press, and it turns out that by the time I actually got everything together and got it sent out, that's when the comic industry was going bankrupt. It was doing very poorly. So It was in movies that saved them. So I remember I interviewed with DC Comics, and they wanted me to draw superheroes, and that's not what I do. I do cosmic horror.
Yeah.
Like think like Bernie Wrightson or something. It's like you're Bernie Wrightson. You go to. I'm not saying about Bernie Wrightson. He's a very nice guy. I've met him. But back there, Bernie Wrightson went in and they go, yeah, why don't you draw Superman for us? I'd be like, wait a minute, I'm Bernie Wrightson. So, but I remember the interview went very badly, and the person who did the interview was Andrew Helfer, who at the time ran the Vertigo line, which did like Sandman and all that stuff. And I was like, oh, this is a man I got to talk to. I remember he was like going through my portfolio. He's like, this might work in art school, but let me tell you what sells. And he holds up a Superman comic. It's like a double splash page with Superman punching Lex Luthor. He goes, you want to do this? I was like, no. He's like, I'm going to jump for you. I was like, holy shit. But, so then I was kind of figuring out what I should do. So I was like, well, I loved all those like old pulp magazines where they have like The Shadow and Doc Savage and the Spider and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But they'd have like these illustrations. I was like, what if I did like even bigger illustrations, like comic book style illustrations, like full splash pages in the middle of the book, so like bring the most dramatic scenes to life. So that's what I do now. And since then I've done comic books. I actually don't enjoy storyboards that much. I enjoy like the splash scenes, like the big dramatic scenes. So that's what I try to illustrate for my book. So I was like, the cliche, like, a picture says 1,000 words.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, why don't I do that? That'll like help people picture some of like the scenes that are like, holy shit, what the fuck does that look like? And then,
Yeah, I get a picture with 1,000 words because, hey, art speaks for itself. You know how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And Yeah, I checked out some of your like I said, some of your work, and oh my god, it speaks, man. It's like
Oh, thank you.
it really does. So like, what can you tell us about what was it? Down Highway in the Dark.
By Demons Driven. Yeah, it's a quote that I wouldn't say stole, I'd say borrowed from Alan Moore. So he did that famous run on a Swamp Thing, which was hugely influential to me. Like John Taliban and Steve Bissett were the artists, and to me, that's still like the greatest comic book art team ever.
Right.
And I remember at one point, Steve Bissett complimented my work. I was like, "Holy shit, my hero complimented my work!" Um, so that was a big day for me. That was awesome. But
Right.
yeah, so like I was reading the Swamp Thing, like the interpretation, and he does this thing where he does like the artist would do a deep dive where they yeah, we're gonna draw like creatures of the swamps of Louisiana. So let's make a trip to Louisiana, get a whole bunch of reference photos, and then we'll kind of like know what we're drawing. And I've kept that up, with my stuff. Like I have one story about like there's an actual horrible creature actually in Loch Ness. So like I should go on like a tourist trip to Scotland. I'll go to Loch Ness, and I actually took a boat across the loch, and I was like, I know what it's like now. Like there's a ruined castle, like right on the shore and all that stuff. So I had all this stuff together and I put it all out. And then as the years went by, like I got it published, it was out there. And then I was like, taking, I took an Alan Moore seminar, I took a Stephen King seminar. And, I got to the point where I was like kind of embarrassed by my old stuff because I'm like, I could write it so much better now. And then that initial story, I was like, it'd been with me forever. I thought it was a great story. I was like, but I didn't really do it justice. So I went back and I spent like 60 hours rewriting it, and add more illustrations to it and everything. I was like, dude, just give me one more chance. You got to check this out. So that's what's out now.
Hell yeah! And you said you've been to these places like the Loch Ness and everything.
Oh yeah, and I've seen that it takes place in like I'll try not to give it a spoiler, but like one of the main characters like discovers pyramids with like alien stuff in it and all this stuff. I was like, I wanted to know what the pyramids look like, so I went to Mexico. I went to Chichen Itza. I went to a bunch of different places like Cobalt, Tumul, all that sort of stuff, and I wanted to check out the ruins. I like climbed up on the step pyramids and stuff like that. Right. So it just kind of gives me a feeling for it. I remember I went with this girl and she was trying to convince me. They have giant iguanas everywhere there, by the way. And she was trying to convince me that the giant iguanas were all radio controlled and were secretly like tracking me. I was like, I don't believe you for a minute, but it's pretty cool.
Right. So like, how do I say this? What can you tell us about the Black Seed of Infinity book?
It's so the like very basic plot is like if you I mean I'm sure everyone's heard of like Roswell and Area 51 stuff like that. Yeah. So it's like there's some alien technology that the government has recovered, and they're trying to reverse engineer it. And so they keep bringing in people that they think are good scientists, specialists who would be able to reverse engineer it into stuff they could use. But I mean, that technology is so advanced that a lot of people can't really do much. They kind of play around with it. Kind of like, if you ever saw 2001 where the monkeys are like, like poking at the obelisk and they don't know what the fuck to do? It's kind of like that. So it's about one of the main characters. He's kind of like kind of nihilistic, kind of like he has a kind of a rough outlook on life. And I in a way I base him on the period of my life. Like my wife died in hit and run. Yeah. And so I have this guy, like his girl dies unfairly. I'm not going to say what it is, but she dies and he thinks it's, the government's kind of like overlooked it. So he gets an even darker outlook and everything. So he's kind of a grouchy guy. He gets fired. And now he's like, well, fuck you. I'm going to go back. I'm going to get some of that technology and do my own thing with it. So he goes back. There's a bloody, the bloody invasion where he steals it, and he's running away with the government in hot pursuit, and then the whole U.S. government falls apart.
Oh,
And he's been so single-minded the whole time, he hasn't seen like the strain where the whole thing's like pulling apart, and then it falls apart, and then he didn't even realize because he escaped. He's like, why are everyone's lights off and there are almost no cars on the road and stuff? And then it just gets crazier. Like he ends up going down to Europe because not down to Europe, down to South America. He's like, maybe if I get out of like what's now become a very chaotic, scene, I'll be fine. But then he ends up stumbling across ruins again. Some of the aliens that he stole the technology from come back, and there's like an almost intergalactic war. And
it's crazy, man. Like I'm trying to keep up with this, and it's like there's an intergalactic war. Just throw this in there. Oh, throw a little bit of spice in there, and it's like, yeah. It's so like, what is your creative process for some of these stories and their inspirations?
Well, I have 2 books for sale. One is my debut novel. The second one is a collection of short stories. And like as I go along, it's kind of like the combo thing where everything's in the same continuity. So some of those, people and some of those incidents start popping up, and they all merge later on together. Mm-hmm. I kind of describe it as like if you pick up my 3rd book, which actually is not in the campaign. It's like a publisher owns the rights to it, so I can't put it out there. But I described it as like a Road Warrior to Mad Max. Like that first novel is like Mad Max, and the second novel is like Road Warrior, but it's not like you got to read one to read the other.
Yeah.
But that 3rd novel starts to combine elements of the first 2, which is what I have in this campaign.
So you're telling me, if I get this correct, everything kind of like connected in a way.
Right.
That is badass. Oh my God. It's like I like it when comic creators and authors and creators, they just make everything connected in a way, like their own universe. Oh
yeah, I like that too. I mean, maybe it's the comic nerd in me, but it's like I'm used to like it kind of disappoints me when like there's cool stuff, but there's like no connection whatsoever.
It's like, bro, it's like you can make so much like more with it if they connect, and it's like, no, we got this separate thing here. They don't ever connect or think about each other. They're like, bro, the potential.
Yeah. No, people miss out. I think comic books are kind of like it's kind of like horror movies or sci-fi movies or whatever. It's like people get used to like the worst of it, and they're like they just run it off like that. But it's like there's actually some really good stuff in comic books and horror movies and sci-fi movies, because like you might get like a crappy sci-fi movie, and then you might get like The Matrix or Star Wars. So it's like
it's how you take it and like you take a look at it. And man, I could just tell you right now, my biggest thing, I love cryptozoology and cryptids and all that, and the supernatural aspect. And my biggest one is dogmen, like werewolves. It's my biggest thing, man. It's like ever since I watched, you remember probably the 80s movie, The Howling?
Oh, of course, yeah.
Yeah, that was a classic right there, a cult classic. Yeah, they made so many over time, but when you take the good ones, like the first one, it was a masterpiece. Or American Werewolf in London.
Oh, yeah, it was awesome, yeah.
And, like, you said you're a fan of Stephen King, right? So you know about Salem's Lot and all that?
And the thing is, like, so, I think Stephen King is a little bit hit or miss with stuff put out, but some of the stories put out are true masterpieces.
Yeah. And some of them,
he declares himself as, like, the literary equivalent of a Big Mac and fries. I'm like, dude, he's just, like, he's putting himself down. I think he's done some really classic stuff.
Right. Now, what is some of your, like, I know you already told me your inspiration, but what are some of your favorite writers and creators?
Well, I remember the first time that I read Lovecraft, it really spoke to me. Like, at the time, I was, like, living in the South when the South was, like, way more conservative. And I was, like, super punk rock, blue mohawk, spiky leather jacket.
Right.
And so, in a way, I don't want to say I was like an alien, but I felt like kind of like an otherworldly alien. Like everybody's just fucking treating me like I'm like the worst thing fucking ever.
Like different, yeah.
Yeah. And and I remember I read Lovecraft. I was like, this kind of speaks to me. This like whole different like way of looking at things. And I remember I enjoyed him a lot. I enjoyed Neil Stevenson. I don't know if you read Snow Crash. Snow Crash is awesome. The Diamond Age was awesome. William Gibson, like Neuromancer. I remember I liked Graham Matheson a lot with like I Am Legend, and Hell House, and Spirit of Echoes.
I Am Legend with a badass, man. It's like that whole scenario.
Well, I would say that the first movie sucks. The second movie with the Charlton Heston and the Mega Man was pretty good. The Will Smith one, I didn't like the way. First of all, don't kill a dog. You kill a dog.
No, everything goes to shit when you kill the animal. Just like right there.
The only time I let somebody get away with it is like John Wick, where he goes into a rampage and killed all these people.
Right, it's like it comes back and returns with vengeance. It shows violence.
Right. Yeah. Well, and also so in the book, he says I am legend because what happens is like so all the people start turning into these vampire creatures, and it's like somewhere in the Midwest, and like he works in a factory, so all of his coworkers are at the factory turn into this. He'll go out in the day and they'll kill them because they're basically vampires, But at the end of it, they execute him because to them he's a mass murderer because they're like they like have this like kind of vampire society where they're all like educated, well spoken, whatever. They just happen to be vampires now,
right?
And he just like he's going out there and he's just butchering them during the day, and at the end they finally execute him. So it's I Am Legend, as in I was the last human being.
Right.
And in the Will Smith movie, it's like, oh, I invented a cure. I'm Legend. I'm like, that was not the movie.
No.
Or the show or the story or whatever.
Yeah. It's like, okay, what is your top 3 favorite things you wrote personally?
Well, I really like the rewritten version of my first novel. Like, I wrote it, and like I said, it started out as a comic book, and it evolved a lot. And then, when I started writing a lot of other stuff, then I eventually kind of got embarrassed. It was like, that's my early stuff. I'm way better than that now. But then I rewrote it, and I feel like I really brought out what was a strong sword to me. But aside from that, I really like some of the short stories I wrote. Like I wrote one called "The Small Spaces in Time." It's in. So one of the 2 books I have in the Kickstarter is my collection of short stories, and one is called the Short Space in Time. And it's kind of like at the time I was doing a lot of traveling all over the world. I was like really big in the tattoo community. I was like in all these books and magazines and stuff. So I remember I was like going through airports, and sometimes you'd be like jet lagged or like barely awake, and you're like wandering through the airport, and everybody's on, they're speaking a different language, and you're like trying to figure out where your connecting flight is and all that sort of stuff. And I was like, what if I just kind of took that to the next level? And this guy, like, he wakes up off a plane, which I do all the time because it's like an overnight flight.
Right.
So he wakes up on the plane. All of a sudden, there's nobody there. He's on the plane by himself, on a runway by himself, and there's nobody in the airport. And like he's wandering around the airport, and like there's nobody there, nothing stopped, the lights are off. And then no spoilers, but it kind of goes downhill.
Yeah, I can already tell. It's like he wakes up and it's like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, like how far in the Kickstarter are you for your books?
I have 25 days left. I did like 30 days total.
Yeah.
So I have 25 days left. And there's like a burst of activity where a bunch of people were like, oh yeah, I'll get stuff. And then it stopped.
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of people had that. It's like everyone's all excited, and then they're like, wait, where did everyone go?
Yeah, it's like you're like, hold on, I'll be right back. And you come back and it's like, what? But yeah, it sounds like a lot of potential, man. Like all your books and your work, like especially like when you connect the universes and like into one thing, that's a big thing nowadays that not many people do unless you're Marvel or DC, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a big point in success right there, you know.
All right, cool. Yeah. No, I always like especially when like DC would do it like in the '90s. So it'd
Mm-hmm.
be like they'd have episode or not episodes. They have issues of the Swamp Thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's written by Alan Moore. It's very witty, very complex. But then like they'll bring in like Hawkman or something, and only Alan Moore can make it still sound relevant. Like
Right.
it's like a horror comic, and then you have Hawkman appear. But then he'll do it. So he just bring people in, so you can kind of see that they all kind of exist, and they move around in the same universe, and I love that.
Oh yeah. So, what is your top for the fans out there? What's your top 5 favorite horror movies of all time?
I mean, I could probably name my top 50, but
We'll do. Yeah.
I'd say my single favorite is probably The Shining, like
Yeah.
Stanley Kubrick, The Shining. For the longest time, it would be my second favorite movie, which is Evil Dead,
Mm-hmm.
which I actually have on my knuckles.
Hell yes.
And I love Evil Dead. I remember I saw it. So I had a friend at the time. He had like a single mom, and they lived on a trailer on their uncle's property. But she was like that cool mom that like give you
Yeah.
beers and stuff. So I remember watching it at his house, and I was like, it blew my mind.
Right. It's man, Sam Raimi did so good in Evil Dead, man. Like when you watch
Yeah.
it was like he always does good with like the zooming in effect and everything, and it's like, yeah,
Yeah, he was. That's when he was at his peak.
yeah,
You know, we did, because I know he did Evil Dead, and they did Evil Dead 2, which is almost a reshoot of the same movie, but with like a better budget, you know, a little bit tighter script and stuff. But I remember I liked that a lot. I liked Texas Massacre, like the first one. Some of the sequels kind of like go off the rails, but the first one is fuck it. To this day, it's amazing.
you're right.
I remember that first Nightmare on Elm Street, like where John Depp gets sucked up on the bed and like it squirts out like, you know. I remember like that was a big influence. I liked that a lot. I also like there's also some I really like sci-fi, but like dark sci-fi. Like,
Yeah,
I loved RoboCop. RoboCop was awesome, and
Yes.
I watched it so many times that I figured this out. Like we'd watch it on VHS, by the way, because I'm old. So we would watch it on VHS. You just slow it down and go scene by scene. And if you go scene by scene, like that part where he's like in the nuclear waste, or the nuclear plant or whatever, and like one of the criminals fell into like a vat of nuclear waste. He comes down and he's like, ah! So when the car plows into him, if you slow down, you see his face sliding down the windshield.
Oh. Oh man, like I'm a big sci-fi fan. I love Terminator for sure.
Oh yeah, especially
And,
the first one. I know,
yeah.
I know a lot of people. I saw T2 in the theaters, and I really appreciate it. But it's hard to beat the first one.
It's always hard to beat the first one in things. It's like unless you got something really different but creative at the same time on the second one, it's the first one always hits. It's what starts the journey with that movie.
It's the story, yeah.
Yeah, it's
It breaks
the
into the
beginning
story.
of
You're
a
like,
story.
holy
You
shit.
can't ever beat the beginning of a story unless you have a killer ending. But it
Right.
always starts in the very beginning.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And but let me ask you this: RoboCop versus the Terminator.
Oh, who would win?
Yes,
Oh, definitely Terminator, I think.
right.
Like I actually liked the first RoboCop better than the first Terminator. Not by a huge margin, but I liked it better. It's just like it's a very cool character to me.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the Terminator is just unbeatable.
Right. It's how now which RoboCop did you like? Because I know they made a few of them.
Oh well, the first one, yeah.
Yeah.
The first one to me is the only real one.
Right.
And
We don't
like,
consider reboots or nothing.
well, the thing is, unless a reboot is really good, like for
Right.
instance, John Carpenter's thing is
Mhm.
way better than the thing that came out before it.
Yes. I like creature features, like also like The Fly.
Oh yeah, awesome. The Fly. That's another one where the reboot of The Fly was way better than the original Fly.
Yeah, it also depends. Not only the story, but the actors who portray the story and put their heart and soul into it, man. It's like when he put his heart and soul into The Fly and the rebooted one, it's like, bro.
Oh yeah, when like his like fingernails are falling off and they're doing everything like really graphic. Like the original one is like it's in black and white and like it's a guy with a fly head.
That's all I'm looking. I'm like, that's cool, probably back in the day, but it's like now you see this and it's like, bro, his fingernails are literally falling off, and like he's morphing.
His teeth are falling out, and
like, it was disturbing, man. I was like, I used to do commentaries when I watch movies like that, saying, man, that kind of sucks. That kind of sucks. My whole demeanor and everything was silent when I was watching The Fly. And I'm like, just me and my friends just watching it just in awe. And it's like, damn. Like I always said at the end of the movie with damn. And it's like, yeah, sometimes movies get you like that, man.
Yeah. And they made a Fly too. I don't know if you saw it. It's horrible.
Oh, okay, never mind. And I was like, they made it a second one, then you said it was horrible. I'm like, never mind. I'm not going to even watch it.
It's called like Son of the Fly. So it's supposed to be like, remember Gina Davis was like pregnant? It's supposed to be she gives birth, and at first it's a normal human, then it slowly turns into the fly. But it's not Gina Davis because they couldn't get her back. And it's just Jeff Goldblum, of course, is long gone.
Yeah. It sucks, don't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, how did you feel about like sci-fi movies like The Predator and Alien back in the day?
So I love the concept of Predator. I thought it was a little cheesy because I mean it's Arnold. Like every Arnold movie is a little cheesy. So it's like to me it's a good B movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I would say like the first Terminator. I mean, it probably was like in the B movie category because it was a James Cameron and he had a low budget. Yeah. But he just did so good at it. Like to me, it's an A movie. I love that first one.
Right. What about the Xenomorphs and Aliens?
Oh yeah, that first Alien is amazing.
Yes, that's when when do you think the peak of horror really was, and like what timeline?
I would say probably like 80s, like late 80s, early 90s, right around then. Because maybe even a little bit earlier, because like it kind of seems like they'll have a burst of really good stuff, then they have a bunch of lame stuff, then burst of really good stuff, then a bunch of lame stuff. But like I could name like the burst, you know, like the movies that kind of broke out, like Dawn of the Dead or Texas Chainsaw Massacre, you know, like that was that like late 70s, early 80s wave, and then they had a wave with like A Nightmare on Elm Street, and you know. So and Pumpkinhead and all this stuff, and then it would just be kind of like gone for a while, and then it'd come back.
Yeah, it's like, and here's what makes me think sometimes horror is kind of lost its edge. They don't come up with original stuff anymore. You know, it's like it's like just not the same as it used to be. You know, like they make reboots out of everything.
Well, I think part of that is the fault of the studios, because like, yeah, okay, we know if we make Halloween like 21, that's going to make money. So if we do this really cool indie project that nobody's heard of, we don't know. So we're going to put our money with Halloween 21.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But they always do reboots, and that's going to eventually lose the fans, I feel like.
Well, a lot of the reboots are just so bad too. Like they rebooted Total Recall. I don't know if you saw that. It's fucking horrible. They rebooted RoboCop. It's fucking horrible.
Right.
You know, it's like they don't know how to do anything right.
Yeah,
it seems like. I mean, I'm probably like a little bit prejudiced on this, but you know, I think that they did better reboots in the 80s than they do now. Like when they did The Fly or something like that.
Yeah.
Like they basically took an obscure movie and then did a really good job. Here they'll take like a really good movie and then they'll do a very mediocre job.
Yeah, it's like, bro, there's like they should see the lines and patterns here, but yeah, it's I don't know. All I know is some of the horror was best in like you said, the 80s to the 90s, and so they got some original stuff, like for instance, the Weapons movie, the new one, and
I haven't seen that.
Yeah, it's pretty good. They got one called Good Boy that's coming out about a dog's perspective, and he sees things that other humans can't, and he protects his owners. So,
okay,
yeah, he protects his owners from like poltergeist.
That could be good. I'd see it. Yeah,
yeah, and like what got me back in the day, I don't know if you remember this, was Courage the Cowardly Dog.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
yeah, it messed with me back in the day, man. I was like watching it, and I'm like, bro, this is straight up like to a dog's point of view and perspective, man. I'm like, damn. But no, it's gonna be good. Horror's one of my favorite things. Just like it done right. But
yeah, it's just gonna be if it's done right. It has like all the suspense in it to make it pop. But you know what? It's kind of the way it is with everything. Like, is it a Marvel movie? Is it done right?
It just depends on who's behind the wheel. It's like, yeah, it's. But you said that. So I'm guessing from your point of view on movies, Freddy and Leatherface is your favorite killers, right? In movies.
I always describe. I always describe like Jason as like the best character. This is my dog, by the way. I would describe Jason is the best character in the worst movies.
Right.
And Freddy, like that first Nightmare on Elm Street was awesome, but it's kind of hard for me to like stick with them because they did so many like super cheesy, Nightmare on Elm Streets after that. Like, what are they up to? Like 7 or something?
Yeah, or 7 or 8 at most.
Yeah, and then like the first Hellraiser, awesome, but then after he fucking goes to space.
That's when you lose me, when they go into space. We learned that from Jason X. It's like, no.
Although Jason X was so bad, it was kind of good.
That's what I'm saying. There's some movies, very rarely, if it's so bad, it could be like one of them hidden gems. It's like, it's like if you want to laugh for some reason, like, hey, you want to laugh? Yeah, let's watch Jason X. And it's like, right. Cool. But no, it's. No.
Or like one of the Leprechaun movies.
Oh yeah. They even remade, like, for instance, they remade Wrong Turn. I saw
the original. I didn't see the original.
Yeah, the original is good because it had the mutant cannibals in it. This one don't have anything about it, anything to do with it. So that's why I'm like, this should not even be a wrong turn. It's like, but.
I would have to say there were a couple that were way better than the original, like The Hills Have Eyes. Like the remake of The Hills Have Eyes blew away the original.
Yes, Hills Have Eyes. That got me. I got to watch that in theater. That got me the creeps, man. Like, straight up, I'm getting paranoid driving myself home, and I'm like, yeah.
And if you watch the original, you're just like, oh, it's just kind of slow. Very slow, like especially after seeing the new one, you're like, it's just missing so much, like pop.
Yeah, that's what it always comes down to, and especially scary movies is the pacing, man. It's like you don't want them just going guns ablazing at first. You want to build it up, but not too much, Yeah,
no, I agree with that. Yeah, it seems like some nowadays kind of the fashion is like we'll just throw everything on the screen.
Yeah,
and then an hour and a half later, you're like, dude, I just been bombarded with like you're being sawed in half for like an hour and a half, and it's like it didn't really do anything to me. There's no like good story behind it.
Yeah, what can you tell fans like about I don't know, like about horror? Like, what would you want them to take from your work?
Well, what I do is it's more of like the kind of like classic horror, like the Twilight Zone or the Outer Limits, where like I want to build up. So there'll be kind of like stuff going on in this gonna like come to fruition later on, but like it's kind of building up, kind of like getting a little bit dark, getting a little bit creepy. So then when something happens, you're kind of like oh shit, you know.
Yeah.
And so I think I have a number of scenes like that. In my short stories, it's more like the big twist is towards the end. Although sometimes it'll happen, then things will slow down, then it comes back again. And like if it's a full-on novel, it happens a few times. But I think you need like a strong story arc to build that up first.
You got to have a base for it. Like,
Yeah.
And yeah.
Because if somebody gets killed, you're like, I don't know that guy. I don't really give a fuck.
It's like that's the messed up part. It's like, oh man, that guy just got hit by a boulder and he got crushed. It's like, damn, but I don't know him though. It's like,
yeah, exactly, yeah.
Like I don't know that guy. It sucks for him, but
whereas like Pet Cemetery, for instance, you kind of like see what's going on. You see the like dynamics of the family and stuff. So when the kid finally dies, you're like, holy shit. And then when he comes back as that evil creature, you're like, you know, holy shit twice. You know,
holy
needs
shit.
That build up for you to get there.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It's always the build up, man. Sometimes they over like load the build up, but just like I said, the pacing of it.
Yeah.
And
no, yeah, I think you're right. I think it's definitely the pacing of it. Because it's like, you know, if you just slam everything all together, you know, then you lose the feel for it. If some like go too much the other way, they're way too slow. So you're like,
yeah,
dude, is anything gonna happen? I give up.
It's like, bro, I've been here for an hour and 30 minutes. And this is the average lifespan for a movie. It's like, how much longer?
Right.
But no, it's...
Well, there are movies where I've watched like an hour of it. They're like, oh man, you didn't watch it to the end? You know what happens at the end? I'm like, dude, I gave it an hour. There's nothing going on for an hour.
The way I describe it, and I love it now that I'm older, is Paranormal Activity.
Oh,
like
yeah?
The first one, because we were watching it the whole hour, 30 minutes just to see a chandelier move. and it's like, I'm like, bro, I'm waiting for some supernatural spooky stuff to happen. Oh, God, a chandelier move. Then at the very end, the girl get kidnapped. And I'm like, I waited an hour and 30 minutes, and I've seen two scenes I liked. But it's like, it's a story build up, man. It's like it builds up to different things of different movies all together. So it's like, I guess that's the basis for it, but it's like, damn, man, I just wanted more than a chandelier moving.
Well, I think that's the problem with like older movies, like the first version of The Hills Have Eyes.
Yeah.
It's just so slow.
Right.
So like an hour and a half in, you're like, you finally start to see some of the mutants or whatever. And you're like, finally.
Yeah, it's, I don't know. But is there anything you want to tell the fans about your work or anything else coming out before we have to head off?
No, just definitely buy my shit. Go check out my Kickstarter.
Check out his Kickstarter.
I have a podcast where I interview people who kind of like what you do, like where I interview people that have projects out, like, you know, like books, or like I talk to people that have like indie movies and stuff like that.
Right. What's your podcast called?
It's called Skull Sessions with Dan Henk. And skull session used to be like an old English word. Well, it's still an old English word for like a deep conversation.
Right.
So I'm being all pretentious. I'm like, skull sessions with Dan Henk.
Right. It's, like I said, thank you for coming on and telling us about your work and breaking down the horror genre itself, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there's a whole bunch of different versions. That's just my version. But
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's
that's what I'm saying. Like, thank you for breaking it down. Talk about the good reboots, the bad, and the ugly. And it's like, yeah, it's. But yeah, thank you so much for coming on, man.
Okay, yeah, thanks for having me.
Maybe one day when you get your Kickstarter and your project up and going, we can talk more about it. You know.
Okay.
But till then, everyone check out the Kickstarter for real, and everyone like, subscribe, and follow for more content on geeky nerdiness. And we will talk to y'all later.